On my channel today, I want to discuss a few things. I want to discuss Donald Trump's speech last night at the State of the Union address. I want to discuss what transpired in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and I want to discuss Mark Carney's commitment to launder another $2 billion through his buddy Christian Freebase in Ukraine. So stick around. So you may or may not know that Donald Trump addressed the State of the Union last night, and you know, it's about 2 hours. It was the usual rah, pat himself on the back type of speech. The economy's doing well like it's never done before in the history of the United States. I'm just gonna talk about a couple takeaways that I got from it. And it would appear that Donald is desperately in search of a Nobel Peace Prize for all the wars that he stopped, 8 wars. So, you know, would someone give that guy some sort of peace medal, just to check that off his bucket list, so to speak? But two takeaways, two things that I was surprised to see, and I was glad to see that he handed out 2 Medal of Honors. 1 Medal of Honor to a Chinook pilot that was involved in the recent invasion of Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro's. He was shot up quite badly, the pilot, and he survived, and he was there last night, and they bestowed the Medal of Honor on him. By all accounts, very well deserved, so that was nice to see. And then he bestowed a Medal of Honor on a 100-year-old gentleman from that his actions were during the Korean War. He was a jet fighter pilot, and he got into a pretty nasty dogfight over there apparently, and they honored him with the Medal of Honor. So that was kind of nice to see a 100-year-old person getting the Medal of Honor. But that was my 2 highlights, obviously based on my interest with military history and people that garner the Medal of Honor and the Victoria Cross in our country. So that was nice. Another key takeaway was his verbal back and forth with Ilhan Omar, the congressperson out of Minnesota. Basically, Donald Trump specifically outed the Somali, well, I call them Somali pirates, a Somali community in Minnesota with regards to their fraud. And he announced that J.D. Vance was going to be spearheading the investigation into breaking that corruption ring up. Now, we've heard a lot of tough talk over the year and a bit that Trump's been back in as president, and not a whole lot of arrests or convictions. So I'm very apprehensive that something actually is going to happen. So I will say this, Ilhan Omar looked visibly shaken, visibly nervous, sitting beside the dog-faced boy, Talita Rashid, whatever her name is. And, oh, Jesus. Anyhow, so they had a back and forth there. What other key takeaways? Oh, at one point Trump said, either you're for America first, or you're for immigration first. And if you're for America first, please stand up. And of course, the usual suspects, most of the Democratic Party didn't stand up. Now, most of the Democratic Party are race grifting, very angry women, and the men within the Democratic Party are race grifters and beta simp males. So it's the usual suspects. I say that a lot in my videos, I understand that, and it triggers a lot of people. I get some negative response. Overall, my responses in my comment section are more positive than they are negative by far. But you know what? I get a kick out of it. I get a kick out of people that are so easily triggered. And by all means, keep on putting your triggered responses in my comment section. I don't mind them. I really don't. It just further corroborates my mindset with regards to the complete lunacy on the left. Unhinged lunacy. So by all means, keep going. And what else did old Trumpy say in the State of the Union that was of any sort of significance? That's pretty much it with regards to my takeaways from the State of the Union. I thought it was more or less a nothing burger. People are going to go in and dissect it. You know, obviously, if you're a Trump supporter, you're going to put a positive spin on it, and if you are against Trump and MAGA and whatever, you're going to put a negative spin on it. So it's up to your interpretation. I thought it was very inconsequential. That's what I'll say. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, what transpired in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta region, with the Mexican military and the U.S. military advising them. They took out El Nacho. Now, El Nacho is, by all accounts, one of the highest ranking, or was one of the highest ranking cartel heads in Mexico. So they went in and they blasted him up, and he died on the way to hospital. So right after that, there were riots. Well, I wouldn't call them riots. There was retaliatory operations conducted by his militarized force. Now, people, if you don't know, the Mexican cartels are heavily armed. They are essentially a military army. A lot of these cartels have armored vehicles, they have heavy weaponry, they have surface-to-air missiles, they have fully automatic machine pew-pews, they have rocket launchers, and who knows what else they have. They are heavily equipped. It's being reported that a lot of the equipment has been supplied by Russia, China, and through the Ukraine. So in a way, in a roundabout way, the U.S. and even Canada has been supplying the Mexican cartels with weapons. So a bunch of things are coming out of Mexico, a bunch of reports and video and interviews from Canadians down there, you know, virtue signaling, a lot of them. You know, they're down there, they are safe, they marked themselves safe on Facebook, and they're going around and they're videotaping burnt out cars and burnt out stores, gas stations. Apparently they were shooting taxi drivers and unaliving taxi drivers for whatever reason. And I don't know if any tourists have been unalived, and I don't know of any tourists. Well, they say there were some tourists, American tourists, that were taken hostage, but I don't believe that, because if that was the case, that'd be a really good reason for Trump to send in troops. But so I don't believe that. So what I will say, the virtue signaling elbows up types that are down there, for decades and decades, Canadians keep the economy of Mexico, keep the economy of the Dominican Republic, Cuba, they keep it going. And those countries, especially Mexico and Cuba, those countries are run by criminals. Not so dissimilar to our country, but at the very first snowfall, at the very first sign of sub-temperature weather, these elbows uppers, and I'm not saying they all are, but a lot of elbows uppers, they like to go down there and lay on their lounge chair with the ocean or the pool at the end of their feet, and they like taking pictures with their pina colada and showing their feet looking towards the water. And they say, well, it's so nice down here and I'm glad to get out of the Canadian winter. Well, I'm not a person that likes to get out of the Canadian winter. I love the Canadian winter. I'm not a fake Canadian. I'm a real Canadian. So now they're saying they are praying for Mexico, and you know, it's terrible what's happening down in Mexico. Well, what's terrible is the Canadian people subsidizing a narco state for decades and decades, because that's what Canadians have been doing. Their tourist money goes not all of it, but a good percentage of it goes right into the cartel's money stream. And in Cuba, it goes into the criminals that are the communist government. It goes into their money stream. So when you think you're going down there and you're taking care of Enrique, your chambermaid or your pool person, and you hope their family is safe, well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But how about try this next year? How about instead of going down for your $1,000 all-inclusive vacation, where there's a very good chance you're going to get some sort of salmonella or botulism down there and spend it on the toilet, and there's a very good chance that someone's going to be unalived on the grounds of your hotel. Instead of doing that, how about you try to save up a little more money and spend it in Canada? Maybe go whale watching off one of our coasts. Maybe take the Via train through Winnipeg and go north into Churchill, Manitoba, and go view some polar bears during polar bear season. Why don't you do that? That's on my bucket list, and I will be getting to that hopefully this year in October. That's apparently that's when the polar bears are more visible in that region around Churchill, Manitoba. Do that. Really show your Canadian pride by staying in Canada, keeping your money in Canada. Like, I understand that the way Mark Carney and the Liberals have set it up, we are a narco state as well. And a lot of the cartel activity that Trump is identifying is to curtail the Democratic Party in the United States and the Liberal Party in Canada. Because a lot of the money that is kicked up from the cartels goes to keep the Democrats and Liberals in power. To put Liberals and Democrats in power as Congress people, as members of Parliament, members of provincial Parliament, members of Legislative Assembly in Canada, senators in the US, it costs a lot of money. And a lot of that money is garnered through black operations. And black operations the money for black operations are highly funded through the cartels and the drug trade. That's why Canada has been outed through Sam Cooper and retired RCMP officials as being a major international player in the distribution of heavy narcotics and the epicenter for money laundering of the sale of heavy narcotics. Same as in Venezuela, same as in Mexico. Canada is no different now. And you know, you tie that in with what I'm going to get to in a second. But you got to understand that the politicians in Canada, the politicians in Mexico, you know, if they do have your best interest at heart, it's only for a very short time before they're fully corrupted. And with the Mark Carney types and the Chrystia Freeland types and the Justin Trudeau types, they never had the best interests of Canadians at heart, because they were already long corrupted before they got into politics, before they were installed. Justin Trudeau was installed, Mark Carney was installed. So your money, when you go down on your $1,000 all-inclusive 3-star resort into one of these third world narco states, it's not, a lot of it's not going into the people that work in the resorts. It's being stolen from them, and it's being sent back to keep the vicious cycle of the Democrats and Liberals in power. Now, yesterday it was announced, okay, so I'm done with that. Yesterday it was announced that Mark Carney, he personally announced it, that they are contributing another $2 billion to Ukraine to keep that money laundering epicenter going. Now, if you don't know, most people do know that Chrystia Freebase, Mark Carney's international money laundering bag person, she is over there under the guise of being a financial advisor working pro bono for Zelensky and the Ukraine government. And basically she was taken out of her member of parliament role here and put over there, along with the Rhodes Trust in Oxford University, to keep. Well, that's another story. I'll just keep focused on her role in Ukraine. She was put over there because Canada, Mark Carney and his globalist criminal operation, they needed a person that is more trustworthy than that cross-dressing, coke-addicted Zelensky. So what they did, they put someone that's a little more trustworthy for Carney over there to ensure that any monies that are sent over there, that it is directed into the proper channels to be laundered to come back to Carney and Brookfield Asset Management and whoever else has to be greased, whoever else has to be bribed across the floor. That a lot of that money that Canadian taxpayers are paying for pays for the Matt Generous, the Michael Maas, the Tony D'Entremonts of the world, and there's going to be more. You got to pay them in the millions of dollars, so they got to get that money from somewhere, right? And that's Chrystia Freeland's job now over in the Ukraine, is to prevent all the money from going up Zelensky's nose in the form of booger sugar. I would say that Chrystia Freeland is officially Zelensky's handler. And so that's the money laundering aspect of Brookfield Asset Management is going to ramp up violently. So you think that, well, let me ask you this, elbows uppers. April 28th of 2025, you went to the polls and you voted for that fork-tongued lizard, Mark Carney, because you can't stand PP, can't stand Pierre Poilievre, and you wouldn't care you wouldn't care who the Liberals put there. You'd vote for them because you just can't stand conservatism. You can't stand the fact that you think someone like me or other conservatives are going to drastically change your weirdo way of life. And well, we're not, and we don't have that intention. At least I don't. But so you essentially voted for someone that is sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, to the tune now of $25 billion. We have 2.2 million food bank visits per month in Canada, 2.2 billion. We have an epidemic of drug addiction. We have a mental health epidemic. We have homelessness. We have a medical health crisis here with regards to wait times and the level of medical attention that one can gain in Canada. We have a policing issue. We have corruption within the police. The list goes on and on and on. And you're okay, or it'll appear that you voted for someone that is going to launder billions of dollars through the Ukraine. So you have to take a step back and take a little ownership of what's going on in this country. Now, people have said to me in the comment section, well, if you don't like it here, move somewhere else. Listen, I love Canada. I don't love the criminal organization that's running Canada. So keep on telling me to move. Keep on telling me to stop whining. I didn't vote for a crooked globalist to steal billions of dollars from Canada and to give it to some, well, he's not giving it to Zelensky. Zelensky's just a front man. He's a straw man. It's, like I said, it's just a roundabout way to keep liberals in power and to keep the 0.1% of the elites financially greased, because eventually this bubble is going to burst. Canada is broke, and I'm going to tell you something. When a person like me is forced to hit the street because the power is out, the grocery stores have no groceries left, when there is civil unrest in the streets where people are lighting fires to houses and burning cars, and there are people being unalived in the streets, what do you think is going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to you when people like me know that day is here? You're going to be in for a rude awakening, because people. Well, let me put it to you like this: there is footage of a white man in Puerto Vallarta, going into a variety store and going in and grabbing a 5-gallon jug of water and some other things, and he has a big Canada bag with a Canada maple leaf flag on it. And people are saying that this Canadian was going in and looting the store, and they were trying to out his who he was. Now, I looked at that guy when I first seen that. I'm thinking, this guy's smart. This guy is smart. You don't know the backstory. You don't know his situation wherever he was. He might have lived down there. He was not Mexican. I'm not sure if he's Canadian. He had a Canadian bag. That doesn't mean you're Canadian. He went in and he had a bag full of stuff. Don't know what was in the bag, but he had the 5-gallon jug of water. Now, all you leftards out there, he wasn't going into a Nike store or an Apple store or to an LG store and stealing electronics. He was stealing water, and I'm thinking food. I'm thinking. Now, like I said, you don't know his backstory. Maybe he had 4 people at home that had no water. So, or maybe he made a list of what he took, and he was going to go back and pay for it when the power was back on. Right? So you don't know that. I thought it was smart the guy was doing that. Now, could the guy have ended up dead for doing that? 100%. Because people right away are going to assume that the gringo is robbing from the Mexican people. And so he's lucky he didn't get, something happened to him. But I would have been a little more discreet about it. But my point being is, that was only a small little fraction of time where chaos was going on, and this person's already in the store grabbing water and essentials. So what do you think's going to happen to you, you elbows uppers? Don't worry about me. I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared for it on a multitude of different levels. I know what is coming, and I know the potential outcome of societal collapse and how savage people go. A lot of these people in Canada, especially these limp-wristed libtards, a lot of these people are going to be they're going to be in a very bad way. That's all I have to say about that. But in conclusion, I also want to give my buddy Ralphie Boy a shout out. My buddy Ralphie Boy, I went to visit him yesterday in the hospital. Me and my buddy Stunning Steve, and he's had a medical setback. I won't say what the medical setback is, but he's doing a lot better. a lot better. And so I just want to give him a shout out, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery and he gets out of that that hospital in Mississauga sooner than later. I don't like the hospital. I don't like any hospital, but especially don't like that hospital. It's very dirty, smells, and oh my lord, I don't like hospitals. So Ralphie boy, get better soon, and when you get out, we'll take you out for a steak dinner. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, put it in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye.